There is a petition online right now trying to get Samsung to stop selling inferior products. So this comes after, for example, the S20 series. In some markets, they get a Snapdragon chipset. In other markets, they get an Exynos chipset. Also, in terms of camera hardware, sometimes Samsung uses Sony image sensors. Sometimes they use their own image sensors. But they will call every product the same. For example, the S20 series has these hardware differences, but is called the S20 in every single market. The problem has come because Exynos chipsets have fallen further and further behind Snapdragon in terms of performance. Even as much as 20% difference in the performance of those chipsets, worse battery life as well. People often say that Sony make the better image sensors compared to Samsung. So there's a big difference in these phones, but Samsung are selling them as the same phone. I don't even know if this is like a legal issue, because they're not the same phone and they do not perform in the same way, although Samsung would say that the differences are so minor. But anyway, the petition exists. It's got about 11,000 or so signatures and it's going up really quickly. It's on change.org. You can have a look at it. Their target is 15,000 signatures. And once they reach that, I don't know what they'll do, but maybe Samsung may have to take notice and stop putting inferior chipsets in their products in certain markets. The Huawei P40 and P40 Pro will be launching very, very soon, and we just got some leaks of marketing renders and the specs of these phones. The biggest standout for me is the 50 megapixel main image sensor, which is new. Also 50 times zoom in this phone, which means that the P40 Pro will be using a 5 times optical zoom camera and then 50 with digital zoom, which means the rumors of a 10x zoom going into this product haven't turned out, but there are rumors of a P40 Pro Plus, otherwise called the premium edition, that may be using that 10x zoom camera. Amazon are to stop shipping non-essential items in France and Italy. Obviously, we know why, but food and hygiene items apparently will be unaffected, but non-essential items will face a delay. Apparently, third-party sellers should be unaffected by this, but obviously there's worker shortages. And at the same time, Amazon in the States are apparently paying double overtime to their warehouse workers. This comes as literally millions of people are just using Amazon to buy their things right now, as they can't get out to the shops, and I'm sure all those Amazon warehouse workers and delivery guys are working non-stop. PlayStation have had to clarify just how many games are going to be backwards compatible on the upcoming PS5. So when they initially came out and said that most games from the PS4 would be supported on the PS5, obviously that didn't go down too well, considering how much money is spent on these games. But apparently they've come out and clarified that the overwhelming majority of PS4 games will be supported going into the PS5. The Xbox just released has a very good support for old games, so it's pretty good news that the PS5 will be supporting literally most of the PS4 games too. A new smartphone from Honor called the Honor 30S is very imminent. We have a leaked marketing picture of this phone. This will be a mid-range or budget type of phone. This will be a little brother to the Honor 30, which is the flagship range from Honor that will be coming maybe in a month or so time. It will have a Kirin 820 chipset. That is a brand new chipset from Huawei, mid-range chipset, integrated 5G on that one. It will probably be a slight bump in performance from the 810, but it will have 5G integration, a 4,000 or so milliamp hour battery, and an LCD display. Yep, a side-mounted fingerprint too. I prefer AMOLED displays, even at this price. A lot of the Chinese brands like Xiaomi, Redmi are offering AMOLED displays. Still an LCD on this one, but Huawei LCDs are very good looking. iPhone 2020 production apparently will not be affected. We are still a long way away from the launch, but obviously everything that's going on right now, there's been so many articles saying, will it be affected? According to Bloomberg, according to a source they have at Apple, nothing will be affected for right now, they think. So apparently May is the time when production really starts in earnest for the new phones. And just from my experience living in Shenzhen, which is where the iPhone is made, people are coming back to work. A lot of people have returned to work, especially in these big factories. I think they've made a lot of provisions to get people back working and producing these phones. According to the report, Apple will be releasing 4 new phones in the main iPhone lineup in 2020. they will be releasing some budget iPhone 9 devices before that. Apparently, all of these phones will be having AMOLED displays, so no more LCDs on the flagship phones from Apple, which is a very good thing. But I have a feeling the notch is going to stay. It won't change. It won't get smaller. I just have a feeling it's just going to be the same notch from Apple. Xiaomi has sold more smartphones than Huawei for the first time ever. And this is a big deal because Huawei were on course to be the #1 smartphone vendor in the whole entire world until the Google situation came about, and it's been a very steep decline since. This has not been helped by the fact that in February, Huawei didn't have any new phone releases, and everything going on in China at the time in February meant no one was buying smartphones here. And Huawei relies pretty much solely on China mainland sales right now, whereas Xiaomi are getting trashed by Huawei in mainland China, and they sell way more phones outside of mainland China. But things are reversing now. China is picking up, and I'm sure we'll see Huawei selling more phones than Xiaomi yet again in the coming months. But there is a big gap outside of China left by all of those Huawei sales that Xiaomi and the BBK brands like Oppo and Vivo and OnePlus and even Realme now are trying to take up.